Welcome to this video, No Dispute, an end to settlement variances and stale tokens. Variances can lead to some heated discussions. Dispute? So what dispute are we actually talking about? Well, to examine that, we must look at what happens when the consumer purchases a token. So the consumer requests a token from the vendor, who patches the request through to the utility's vending system, where the token is generated, stored on the utility vending system's database, returned to the vendor, and then exchanged for payment with the consumer. The consumer then enters the token into the meter. Subsequently, the vendor will deposit revenue collected into their bank account, which will then be transferred at some stage in the future to the utility's bank account. Importantly, the utility will compare the amount deposited with the value of units of tokens dispensed. So where does the consumer dispute come in, the variance? Well, the consumer may have requested the token, but they may not be there or willing to accept for some reason the token that is actually delivered to them. They may be specifying the wrong consumer details or the wrong meter. They may have specified the wrong amount. In fact, the vendor may have done that. They may be on the wrong tariff. Perhaps they don't have enough money with them, or the card was declined. There are many reasons why a consumer will not accept the token after having requested it. The vendor, of course, cannot deposit the funds received from the consumer, and therefore there will be a shortfall when transferring funds to the utility's bank account. This will be evident when comparing the funds with the value of the tokens issued. Vendor disputes can also arise. This can be as a result of errors in communication or a slow vending process. In this case, a vendor requests a token, but the token either gets lost or is delayed in being sent back to the vendor. If the vendor were to assume that the token was not generated, when they deposit the funds into the utility's bank account, there will be a shortfall between what was deposited and the value of the tokens dispensed as recorded on the vending system. Most vending protocols have a process that must be followed to determine the state of vend requests that were requested but that don't have responses. This is called an issue advice. However, by the time the process is resolved, the consumer may have left along with their money. So why is this a problem? Why doesn't the utility say, never mind? That's because unwanted and unpaid tokens might be fraudulently used at some stage in the future. What we really want is to be able to cancel a token. But tokens can't really be cancelled, can they? So what's the real cost to the vendor? Well, we have to imagine how many disputed tokens there might be. 1%? 2%? Given that the commission on all tokens is probably around about 4% for the vendor, that's a potential loss in revenue of 25 to 50%. So what's the risk to the utility? Well, assuming the same percentage of disputed tokens, and assuming those tokens find their way illegally into meters, it could significantly increase the non-technical losses. So how big is the problem? Well, if you consider all the utilities that potentially have STS meters, and again assume the same percentage of disputed tokens, an average token purchase frequency of 3 days, an average token purchase amount of $3, and the number of consumers potentially up to 30 million, that means the monthly disputed tokens could be as many as 3 million a month, with the disputed amount being $9 million. But why should the utility care? Surely this is the vendor's problem. Well, there are many reasons why the utility should care. The unwanted tokens generated create an unrealistic perspective on future consumption. Unwanted tokens unfairly prejudice their consumers by skewing the tariff application. So, for example, an unwanted token may be issued on a lower step tariff threshold, and then a subsequent accepted credit token is calculated using a higher step tariff threshold and now costs the consumer more. In an effort to recoup losses from their disputed tokens, retailers try to sell on the unwanted token to the consumers at a future date. We call these stale token sales, and in so doing make a mockery of the goals of online vending and accurate tariff application. But realistically, what's the potential for fraud? Well, of course, the potential for fraud is not worth risking for a single token, but the size of the variance across the consumer base may make it worth the risk to someone. So if you were the utility, how would you decide who gets a refund? What rules would you apply? Yes, clearly a very difficult matter. That's why most utilities don't allow refunds of tokens. If we break down the reasons why refunds are a problem, we can see that there's three component parts. Unwanted tokens have inherent value, STS meters are offline, and the token distribution is outside the utility's control. All that adds up to no refunds. That is, until now. What if unwanted tokens could be cancelled? What if STS meters were online? And what if token distribution is within the utility's control? Well, then we could have an approved and auditable refund process. Is this all a pipe dream? Can unwanted tokens really be cancelled? What kind of proof would we require to ensure that an unwanted token can't be fraudulently used in future? Allow me to digress for a minute. A meter's TID stack prevents duplicate tokens. It's the token ID or the timestamp within a token that prevents tokens for the same timestamp from being accepted by a meter. Even if the token units are different, only the first token entered will be accepted by the meter. This leads us to the NULL Token invention. The rejection of tokens with identical TID values is employed in the token refund invention with the patent given below. By first entering a placeholder token of 0 units, what we call a NULL token, into the meter, this would prevent subsequent entry of the unwanted token with the same TID as the NULL token, effectively cancelling the unwanted token. So this is how it works. A token vendor that doesn't want an unwanted token issues a refund request to the utility's vending system, typically a system reversal. The utility's vending system looks up the token together with the TID, the timestamp on which that token was generated. It then generates a NULL token, with 0 units that is, using the same TID as the unwanted token. All very well, but how do we get that token into the meter? Well, the problem, of course, is meters are currently offline, so we need to make them online. Luckily for us, there's a product such as Smart STS which enables legacy meters to become online. Legacy offline STS meters can utilize new technology such as the Smart STS product to become online. It allows readings to be received and, most importantly, tokens to be sent directly to meters and in near real time. So Smart STS now also puts the token distribution within the utility's control. Let's see how this would work. In response to the token refund request, a NULL token now is sent directly to the meter and returns the token status to see if it was accepted or rejected by the meter. If the token is accepted, then the unwanted token is effectively cancelled because it can't be entered into the meter in future. If the NULL token is rejected, then the unwanted token has already been entered into the meter and therefore cannot be cancelled. The previous innovations allow us to automatically refund unwanted tokens, approving them or rejecting them based on evidence of what is inside the meter. So the final step of the refund request initiated by the token vendor is to send the refund response, and this of course will be either approved or rejected based on the status of the NULL token. The refunded token has been cancelled, and any attempt to enter the cancelled token into the meter will be fruitless. It will be rejected due to that TID's existence in the meter's TID stack. So indeed a refund process is possible. Variances can be eliminated. Unwanted tokens can be cancelled. Meters can be online and the token distribution is within the utility's control. There's no dispute. An end to settlement variances and stale tokens is just around the corner. Thanks for watching.